next 48 hours, depending on where you are in the county, we're talking about 20 to 30 inches of snow. That's a lot of snow. Specifically starting this evening around 8 to 9 p.m., visibility will be a challenge. Between 1 a.m. and 1 p.m., we're looking at some of the heaviest snow. Again, that would be at 1 o'clock in the morning coming up to 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. There are references to gusts of wind up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. Certainly, historically, when we have seen these types of weather events, we see these usually in our southern towns quite frequently, and also in some of our northern towns or lakefront type communities as well. So we have some pretty serious stuff going on right now related to snow. Again, sometimes these these assessments are right on the money. Sometimes they're off a little bit, but it looks like we're going to see a lot of snow. To give everybody an understanding of what to anticipate related to what plows can do. An inch an hour, maybe 2 inches an hour, plows can keep the roads in conditions that are drivable. The idea that if we get hit between 1 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow and it's anything over that, that plows will still be out on the streets, but it won't be as visible to the driver. Saying that, we are going to issue a travel advisory this evening, as we will also be doing a partial activation of the Emergency Operations Center with emergency management, where we will be inviting in other agencies to help with coordination for this event. During the course of the storm, we will be gathering intelligence from the Department of Transportation, other towns, city, villages, our Sheriff's Department, SPD, and then 911 for conditions on the ground, and that travel advisory could be upgraded. There are two upgrades from a travel advisory. One would be going to no unnecessary travel, which would be just how it sounds. Please do not travel unless you have to, and being you have to, certainly thinking about more emergency type travel is what that is. The other update to a travel advisory is an all-out traffic ban. That's something that would require an emergency declaration by myself, and that's just how these warnings go. So we're advising the public of what the storm is going to potentially look like according to the last National Weather Service briefing we had within the last hour. In the event that things deteriorate quickly, we will probably look at upgrading to a no unnecessary travel order. That would probably be done somewhat in the middle of the night as we're monitoring conditions and then moving forward. Related to our own workforce, we ask that our own employees certainly continue to follow the local news and your emails and our app that we have related to what this building may look like tomorrow. Certainly if we're going to get impacted the way that they're suggesting, it will be very difficult for our workforce to get here, and we'll certainly look at non-essential employees potentially not coming to work, but please stay tuned for that. So that's where we are with snow. Some heavy stuff coming at us with some winds, and it's coming from the west right now, so we'll see it soon. Related to the situation with Aqua, we'll have Jeff give us an update on where things stand, but certainly want to thank the community again for all of their amazing conservation efforts. We did not lose any ground related to water over the weekend. That's really, really good. Certainly, we're in a much better position related to having water in reserves to meet the task to help get us through the construction project getting finished. That doesn't mean we have to take our foot off the gas pedal for conservation. So we ask for patience with the public to continue to help us out. And we've had so many people reaching out to us and telling us, about what they're doing and how just small changes, and they didn't realize how conservation can be a good thing, and how they're much more cognizant of it. And then there's a lot of great stories over the weekend. I know the Manoa Fire Department had a fire. There was water for the Manoa Fire Department to use, but they found a local creek and brought in water that way to help service the fire. And so that was a really an unfortunate story because there was a fire. But when you think about the conservation elements, showing you what other entities are doing to help do their part and all that. Saying that, I'll bring up Jeff to go over where we stand with the project and any other points that I missed. Jeff?
Thanks.
Yep.
As the county executive mentioned, we are in good shape as far as being able to stabilize our system. We are continuing to be able to fill our eastern reservoir tanks at the same rate as usage in the system right now. So that's the good news. All other storage tanks on the eastern part of our system remain at appropriate levels. We completed a bypass interconnection on Saturday, which helped flow and pressure to some areas that were particularly seeing low pressure. So that was positive. And perhaps most important, water quality remains to be very, very high. We've taken additional water quality tests, and all of those have come back well within range. So water quality remains very, very good. I think the county executive hit water conservation very well. I would just say without the level of conservation that we are seeing, we would be losing ground in our eastern reservoir. So that conservation is absolutely critical to being able to stabilize the system. So again, thank everybody, as the county executive said. Finally, as a repair update, you can see right here to my right some of the work that is ongoing at the site right now. The pile driver has arrived. It is driving the sheets of 24-foot long piles into the ground to protect the work area. We also, you can see at the bottom picture, we have brought in 26,000 square feet of heavy-duty wood concrete mat for the work area there. You can see here the high tension wires that are above the work site. National Grid has been very, very accommodating with us. They are actually going to be de-energizing those lines as the work requires. They're going to move the lines out of the way so the pile driver can get in there under those lines. So everything is working as anticipated. We are going to be working 24/7 at that site. There may be lulls from time to time, but we want to get this thing done. It will be 24/7 operations at the site. We will know better by the end of this week what the timeline will be for completing the repair. The length of time it takes to dewater the site is going to be the wild card. With all the rain that we had, the water table is actually increased. So that means more water that's going to have to be pumped out. So that is the key factor that we will get a better sense by the end of the week where we stand with that. So that's my update.
Thanks. Questions?
Well, mainly not timeline clarity, but just let folks know by the end of this week. So by the end of this week, are you saying it could still be up to like 2 weeks after the end of this week? Is that because we have longer? People are wondering that, or is it still kind of that range? Do you think?
I think just so everyone, and I'll let Jeff answer the rest of that, but we're going to lose a little ground if this weather is what it is over the next day or two. That there's no way with winds operating 40, 50 miles per hour, and where this is, that likely could happen, that some of this infrastructure can stay the way it is, right? So I think weather isn't cooperating. Jeff talked about the rain, and that's, larger ground level water that needs to be pumped out, but also with what's about to happen, that we could lose a little bit of time too. But Jeff,
I really don't want to speculate on the timing, but I would say 2 weeks from this Friday. We hope it doesn't take that long. Let's put it that way. We are very hopeful. Again, if we can get that water out of there, get those crews in safely, this project will move relatively quickly thereafter.
Yep.
you know, one of the good things about the temporary structures that we have, the temporary pumps, is they are diesel. So power outage is not going to impact that if there is a power outage. They are designed to be outdoors. One of them is outdoors, one of them is indoors. So the one that's outdoors is fully designed to operate in those conditions. As the county executive said, it's really going to be, you know, we're going to have to drop the pile driver if the winds get up to the levels that they're talking about, and that's just going to delay things. So that's the part of it.
And what about the snow melt after the storm? That will only make more water?
That will be more water in the area that could delay the dewatering process, yes.
Yeah, and that's not new for our wastewater infrastructure, right? You know, what happens with old infrastructure is you get clean water that gets into the older pipes, and that means we're treating clean water, not wastewater, essentially. So I think with infrastructure at all, these are going to be a couple challenging days for not just Aqua, but for our own WEP team as well.
Where does this water go that you pump now?
At the site?
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually diverted around the site. There is a creek in the area, so the pumping that we're doing to the north of the area that's being worked will actually be diverted around on both sides of the work area to the south, where it will reconnect to a creek. So we have piping. We've cleaned out the culverts there to make sure that there's going to be no backstop of the water, and we monitor that. We are putting in appropriate drainage control to make sure that none of the areas are impacted.
Did you have to get a permit for something like that?
We have been in discussions with the DEC. They're very familiar with what we're doing there, yes.
I have another question about, just again, emphasizing conservation, still keeping going with that. We had a viewer call this morning about, there's a locally owned car wash in the Bridge Street area, close to the quick fill, close to a doctor's office. You know, you've got the you got your Sun, you got things like that. They're shut down. The kind of bigger corporations, but smaller, locally owned, they're making a lot of money for people who still want to get their stuff done. So is that emphasis still water conservation to keep those efforts going?
Yeah, I think car washes are supposed to be shut down, and so within the service area, right? If you wanted to wash your car, certainly outside of the DeWitt, Manlius, Pompey area, there's lots of car washes in other parts of the county that you can go to. I'll talk to Jeff about potentially some people bending the rules for their own good. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the other stories that you're hearing about conservation?
You know, I think over here on the poster, you can see some of the things that people are doing. The county exec talked about the fire departments. We hear that they're doing that. People are going to their business. A lot of people are going outside the impacted area to do their laundry. That is probably one of the biggest things we have heard, and quite frankly, pretty impactful. As we all know, doing a load of laundry, the number of times that you do it, that can build up. So I would say that's the big one that we've heard.
What about any more commercial businesses? Any of your big users, are they doing anything specific?
They continue to do the work. I again want to, and the county executive mentioned it, Burn Dairy has just gone really out of their way. They've slowed production. They're bringing water from outside the area. They really have stepped up. That is the biggest user in the area, and their efforts are absolutely critical.
Yeah, and I think that's, really important, right, that they're doing that. So certainly everyone should enjoy a cookie witch from Burn Dairy if you stop by. They're wonderful. Treat yourself before your New Year's resolutions not to eat those things. But that's certainly, these Burn could have called us and been like, give us water, right? Like, we don't care what you do, give us water. Instead, they're going out of their way at their cost to help preserve water, essentially for residential neighborhoods.
What makes today different at the site? What's happening today specifically? I know we spoke about some of the arrivals that have happened, but as it compared to this weekend and the week before, what is going on there now that's different?
If you actually go there, you're going to see a lot of work. You're going to see the pile driving. They are They were full bore. I don't know if they've stopped yet with the winds, but full bore. We have put in all of the matting, so around the entire site that is going to be dug up, so we can move around the area. By this evening, the 2 drills that are coming in from out of state are going to be in place to dig those 10 groundwater dewatering wells. So just a lot of work. If you go there, and we don't encourage people to go there, it is not a safe work site. Please do not go on the work site. You will get injured. But you know, it's very close to the road. If people drive by there, they can see the work that's going on, and it's significant.
I'll link up to it, Rachel, so just to make it simple for people to understand. So we can say, you know, you got 2 drills coming in from out of state. These guys are going to be on the ground tonight, and they're going to help. We can just say dewater, drying it up so that people can get in there and do the work that they need to do. I think that's pretty simple, but if you have any other way to simplify it for people, does that seem correct?
That is correct. And I've talked about it many times. The safety of the workforce there is absolutely our top priority. So we need to make this site safe for them. And as soon as the dewatering efforts begin, we can then start excavating the site. You will not see the pipe yet. It is actually too wet there to be digging with the groundwater. We need to dry it out, and then we can get at the pipe.
Thank you.
Where are we on total cost? I know the estimation was that the pebbles alone would be about $1 million. Is anything developed there?
You know, we don't have a specific cost. We are engaging emergency contractors on a daily basis to get in there and get this thing done as quickly as we can. It's going to be the multiple millions of dollars. Until the project's over, we won't know what that is. But again, we have a reserve to do that. We are not going to be increasing folks' rates to deal with this situation. The money is there. We know in this community, in this environment, with the changing seasons, we have incidents that happen. Not to this magnitude, I will grant you, but we have it, and we have that money set aside for that purpose.
How much of the aqua system is considered aging or high risk? Because I know that this was going on. I mean, how's the system looking overall?
I think any system in the Northeast that has been here for at least 100 years is going to be considered aging. We have a very proactive effort to try to make sure that our system remains completely functional. This is out of the ordinary for us, but we do fix leaks all the time. And we replace pipe all the time. So this is just another effort to do that, just albeit a much larger pipe than typical. This particular pipe, our transmission main from Lake Ontario, has been rock solid for many years. So we are thankful for the county who actually put that in back in the 60s for the great job that they did. We are just the trustees maintaining it now.
I want to go back to the first indication that there was a problem. I believe it was December 18th when aqua repaired blowout valve. It was stated that the joint may have failed. Is there any way you can get specific as to what happened? Was there a welding error? Was there too much stress on the pipe? Just as much as you can explain about that day.
We're actually, that blowout valve occurred in August, okay? And then it was 3 months later in November when we had the first break here. Every indication is that it was an anomaly. It was something that we couldn't have anticipated. Even though we were concerned at the time when we did that August break that there could be impacts to the rest of the pipe, once we completed that repair, we did not see any indication that there was other impacts to the pipe itself other than the valve. We were concerned about it again, but we, in hindsight and after we went through it, those concerns were unfounded. So it was really something that came up in November, some water that we were not anticipating. Once we dug up the site, It was just a very unstable situation. Again, something we'd never seen in that area before. Unstable soils, high groundwater, and that's what made it so challenging to fix that particular repair, make that particular repair, and then the two subsequent repairs even got worse.
So when the site that you dug up and saw the groundwater problem, how long do you think that had been leaking?
There's no way to tell. No way to tell.
Like, even, could you say like years or months or?
No way to tell. You know, things happen. It could have happened the day before. It could have happened a year ago. I would doubt a year ago because somebody would have told us, right? Somebody would have observed that and told us. So, but there's no way to tell. Leaks happen all the time in our system. You just don't know when they occur. We address them when they come our way.
And what would someone have seen? Like above ground you would have seen?
In this particular case, as I mentioned before, the owner came in, the tenant was no longer there, the owner got access to the property and saw a bubbling up from the ground.
And that was in November?
That was November.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were there any indications, like downstream of all of that, at the reservoir level, that you
No.
would have noticed?
No.
Like the water was coming out somewhere into the ground, but it doesn't register at the...
Not at that side. Remember, this is a 42-inch pipe with multi-millions of gallons going through it on an hourly basis. There's no way of that size leak that our system would detect it. It was, yeah.
But when you say that size leak, like, can you put any perspective on that? Like how small that would have been?
I don't have the number of gallons that we projected the leak at the time. I could get it to you, but I don't know what my operations staff said was the size of the leak. I just know it wasn't catastrophic in any way, shape, or form, like the last leak that caused the line to go down.
I have a question for Ryan, before we wrap up, just about the weather you were
Yep.
talking about. So are the plows, I know that they may not be able to be on the road, you said, if the weather conditions are really bad.
The plows will be on the road unless there's no visibility.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the event there's zero visibility, the last thing we want are plows driving off the road, because then there's no plows to plow the roads. But even if you have 2 to 3 inches an hour, or 4 inches an hour, they'll still be on the road. They just won't be as impactful, right? It won't be safe for you to be driving.
Do you know how many will be on the road?
We'll have all of our entire team will be out in each quadrant of the county. I talked to the mayor before this briefing. His team's getting ready for it. I know the towns and villages in the state DOT are all getting ready for it.
Has the mayor asked the county for help? They've had trouble getting enough?
No, we haven't talked about that. I think part of the challenge too, though, a little bit, if you think about, and I know this because I used to be a city councilor, but is that our plows are different sizes than city streets. There might be some larger streets we could help with, and in the event the mayor asks us to, certainly we would. Maybe a West Genesee, maybe some of these streets. But when you're talking about the side streets in the neighborhoods, our plows just don't fit on those streets. And I think a lot of the city plows have a hard time on those streets, and that's why they use a lot of the subcontractors too. The idea that county plows can come and help clear up side streets in the hill or anything like that, our plows are too big for those streets. Yeah.
All right, everybody, thank you.
Thank you.